So I have made it to Shoreham in West Sussex. Let's explore. So Shoreham station was pretty normal. There was a ticket machine, a nice cafe on the side, and some pick up and drop off points for passengers. There was a map opposite, listing some tourist attractions that were in and around Shoreham. I turned around to find a pub and a road that was leading to the town centre. I decided to walk down, looking at the cafes, restaurants and shops along the way. One of the places was an estate agent, and there was a nice church and community centre just across the road. I continued to walk around the corner and zigzagged my way past a pharmacy and Hector's Shed, a cafe on the corner. On East Street, there was an antique shop that was missing its queue, but there was a variety of restaurants and shops here too, including an Italian and a nice patisserie at the bottom of the road, overlooking the harbour. There was some more charity shops, and the road curved towards the rest of the high street. I just want to give a shout out to Ada District Council, who have put plenty of benches on the seafront so people can sit and admire this view, and I am very, very pleased. Let me just show you. There were two big bins. One was recycling, so they scored extra points for that. There were loads of benches overlooking the River Ada, where I went to look. You could clearly see the residential area opposite called Shoreham Beach, and there was a sign outlining the nature reserve, which the RSPB kindly provided. Opposite, there was a bridge linking Shoreham to Shoreham Beach, and a clock on the floor. You could stand on the month and supposedly tell the time. There was also a compass on the floor, pointing to different countries, north, east, south and west. The eastern ones made sense, they were all in Europe. However, the southern one seemed slightly strange, because you had countries like Spain, France, but then Burkina Faso, Ghana and Antarctica. Very weird combination. The Ada Ferry Bridge, to use its full name, was shared with cyclists, as I was reminded straight away. You could overlook the harbour. There was restaurants nearby, and there was some blocks of flats that were being built in the distance. I stood to admire the view for a bit, and then carried on along to the other side of the bridge. I was quite intrigued to find normal benches, but also some individual benches that could only fit one person in memory of other people. I thought that was quite a nice touch. You could clearly see the pub as well. Shoreham Beach had its own parade of shops, which I briefly looked at before continuing all the way down Riverside Road. Okay, so the optimism was quickly squashed. The Great British weather has caught up with me. I've got my rain jacket on. I'm still in my shorts. I've got my sunglasses in my bag so I can switch immediately if the weather changes. So a bit about Shoreham. It's got a population of roughly 24,000 people, so it's a relatively small town. It's situated just a few miles west of the city of Brighton and Hove, which is a popular tourist destination on the south coast of England. At this point, a massive lorry went past, so I decided to pick up on my speech a bit later. Looking over towards Shoreham itself, you could see a lot of building work that was going on, as well as all the residential places on Shoreham Beach itself. A Lidl as well, can't forget that. Plenty of electric charge points along here too. At the far end of Shoreham Beach was Shoreham Fort car park, plenty of disabled spaces, as well as normal places too. Oh yes, and I should add, there's some free public toilets and bike parking too. Parts of Shoreham Fort still stand tall today, even though it was built back in 1857 to defend against Napoleon III invading the United Kingdom. It's a nice area to explore, and there's also a cafe there too. It's called The Pollinator and is green and in a little hut. The Coast Guard is located adjacent to the fort, and on days like today, which was surprisingly clear, you can see along to Brighton, which is approximately 4 miles away, and we could even see to Beachy Head, much further. There was no footpath that went around the perimeter of the fort, but you could walk along the pebbles with relative ease. Here's the fort in all its glory, and as you look over towards the houses, there's a footpath that appears. This footpath takes you all the way along Shoreham Beach, I suppose, and on days like today you can see clearly over to Worthing, that's the pier sticking out in the distance, whilst also looking out to sea you can see the wind farm, which is about 10 miles out at sea, so that's quite impressive as well. To show how quiet it was, I filmed myself walking along the path. You can see I'm enjoying myself, but it was very, very windy, so I decided to walk towards Shoreham Airport, crossing this nice green field and passing a parade of shops just by the roundabout opposite Brighton City Airport, or Shoreham Airport as I will call it, because that's what it should be called. Shoreham Fort was signposted from the main road, so it's pretty easy to find if you're driving. Talking of driving, the Shell garage on the roundabout has loads of electric charging points, which excited me. So that's one of the UK's biggest problems. We have massive roundabouts like that. Don't get me wrong, love a roundabout. But they never tell you where to cross, so I've had to walk back in the direction of town to get across the road, which is quite frustrating, but there we are. After getting that off my chest, I found that a footpath did actually exist from the direction I walked from into what looked like the countryside, heading in the direction of Brighton City Airport / Shoreham Airport. One feature of the British countryside is the shortcut. What is the point of going down that long slope when you can just cut straight across and follow the sign in the direction of travel? So my hair is well and truly blown out of proportion with this, I was going to say rain. It hasn't rained that much, just wind mainly. But one of the biggest pools of Shoreham, which has an average house price of, let me get this right, £462,655, I believe, exactly according to Rightmove. No, Charlie, you're wrong. You're £10 out. It's £10 more expensive, but I'm sure you could haggle. One of the biggest pulls of this area is its proximity to nature as well as the sea. So I am a 5-minute walk from the beach, yet looking at the area, you would think we're in the middle of the countryside, and we are pretty much. We're very close to the South Downs Way and the South Downs National Park. Here you can find the path that comes from the town centre and the railway line that goes past the airport. I decided to follow the public footpath in the direction of the airport, where there's a little step down and then you're straight into the industrial units, and it's about a 2-minute walk from the main path to the entrance of Brighton City Airport, which is decorated in an Art Deco style because it was built in the 1930s. The building itself is Grade 2 star listed, and when you walk in, you can see why. The airport was founded in 1910, making it the oldest airport in the United Kingdom. You can see a check-in desk as you walk in, and looking up to the ceiling, you can see the true Art Deco style. It's well worth the visit if you're interested in architecture. I really like Brighton City / Shoreham Airport because you can sit airside and watch what's going on. There were some fuel tankers there, and in the distance you could see a Hogwarts-like building, which is actually Lancing College, a private school. You can look across to the aircraft, and I saw a gentleman maintaining the propeller on his plane in the high-vis right there. Looking across, you can see planes arriving if they come in a southwesterly direction. There's tables and chairs outside, and you can see the original Art Deco style of the building with the air traffic control tower on the top. I was eating in the Hummingbird Cafe, but I had to get a cup of tea, and come on people, tell me this isn't the perfect cup of tea. The right colour, right consistency, yes please. The eagle-eyed among you may have seen a seagull flying overhead in the last shot. He grabbed a boy's juice box and decided he wanted to drink his apple juice. Following my refreshment break and watching the airport, I decided to rejoin the path that goes along the River Ada. You can see Shoreham town centre in the distance with some housing that's along the riverside. There's also a World War II bunker you can visit, although you're not supposed to graffiti it, as it made quite clear. The path gives you a very clear view over the whole of the airport site. You can see helicopters come in and out on sunny days, and there's a grass runway that's sometimes used. The path goes past some industrial units, but continues along the riverside. There's plenty to see here. It's really nice scenery. I even saw a house that's part of the Ricardo engineering firm site, which to me seems bizarre, but it's their choice if they want to keep that house. You might as well. In the distance there you can see the A27, which I observed for a bit before crossing the bridge and heading back over towards Shoreham. On the other side of the bridge, a sign marks the Downs link, which connects to the North Downs Way all the way up in Surrey if you wanted to walk that far. But what I wanted to see was the Shoreham Airport Memorial that was dedicated to the 11 people who tragically lost their lives on the 22nd of August 2015 during an air accident at the Shoreham Air Show. It's a really nice memorial, and there's a bench there if you wanted to sit and take a moment to reflect. After I looked at the memorial, I decided to head back into Shoreham. Crossing the road, I found a nice bike park which had electric bikes as part of Worthing's electric bike initiative, and more importantly, a lovely tool stand where you could repair your bike if you needed to. I really liked it. Walking past the mini roundabout, I found this lovely thatched cottage which really fitted in well with the scenery. I decided to walk along Upper Shoreham Road to see where it would take me. On the corner of Erringham Road, there's a sign pointing to a youth hostel, which is on Truleigh Hill, a site where you can see all over the South Downs. I carried on walking along Upper Shoreham Road until I reached Buckingham Park. I thought this was a great place to use the loo, basically. I really needed the toilet. There was a sign that pointed out all of the tourist attractions in Shoreham-by-Sea, and I recommend you pause the video now if you want to see what they are. Buckingham Park was much bigger than I had anticipated, so it was nice to look around and see all of the trees and green spaces. This made me think about the relevance of Shoreham in the upcoming general election in July, and this seat, East Worthing Shoreham, has been held by the Conservative Party, Tim Loughton, who is a popular local MP, from 1997 to 2019. He won the general election. So this seat has never been Labour, yet Labour are targeting it as a possible gain. And the candidate Labour have put up is a gentleman called Tom Rutland, who's a trade unionist. And the Conservative Party have known that Tim Loughton is standing down. He said he'd stand down back in April. The general election was called last Wednesday, and as of Friday the 31st of May, when this was recorded, the Conservatives have no candidate here. So Labour have had a head start of over a week during this general election campaign against a non-existent Conservative candidate. So I would question why a decision wasn't made quicker, but the majority in 2019 was just over 7,000 for the Conservatives. I think Labour will take this seat, probably with a majority of about 5,000 to 7,000. So we'll see if I'm right. I'm calling East Worthing Shoreham again for the Labour Party before a single vote has been cast. I may have egg on my face, but we shall see. 2 days after this was filmed, Lila Williams was selected as the Conservative Party candidate for this seat. She's a local NHS manager and looked quite keen to win. You could see some seafront flats from where I was, and I decided to rejoin Upper Shoreham Road so I could head in the direction of the Holmbush Centre. There was Southlands Hospital, a non-A&E hospital, and there was plenty of signposts this time telling me which way to the Holmbush Centre from the traffic lights where I was waiting. And we're here at the Holmbush Centre, home to Tesco Extra, the biggest Tesco stores, and Marks and Spencer's, and McDonald's, and Harrison Hall Coffee, where this video, I was going to say will terminate like a bus, where this video will terminate. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.